individual whose degrees are all in aerospace engineering, including my PhD. It was only after my PhD, when I became an assistant professor at Ohio State, that I became interested in the biomedical area. That resulted in my going to London for the better part of 1970 to get immersed in biomedical research community. Came back to Ohio State and totally redirected my research from fluid mechanics and heat transfer and its applications in aerospace engineering to the biomedical world. Initially, I was going to simply take my knowledge of fluid mechanics and use that to study blood flow in a very detailed way. But then I became interested in the role of blood flow in influencing atherosclerosis. That led me to an interest in the vascular endothelium, the inner lining of blood vessels. Ultimately, that led me into tissue engineering and regenerative medicine, and half of my laboratory now does stem cell technology. So I came to Georgia Tech in 1987 to help build bioengineering at Georgia Tech. I was part of a task force, in fact, co-chair of a task force that recommended in 1993 that an interdisciplinary institute be established. That was under the presidency of Pat Creasine, who left in '94. Wayne Clough came, and Wayne Clough liked the idea even more than Pat Creasine did. And so we've had a tremendous ride, as I call it, building not only bioengineering but also the life sciences. In 1998, we got an Engineering Research Center award from the National Science Foundation. That is what G-Tech came out of, the Georgia Tech Emory Center. And in that, we started an undergraduate research program within that center. But it was so successful that we then expanded it to include all of the Institute for Bioengineering and Bioscience. And that program is still in existence. I used to be director of not only GTEC, but also of the Institute for Bioengineering and Bioscience. And now I've turned that over to Bob Goulberg. He's the new director. But that undergraduate research program flourishes. And my philosophy has also always been, why would an undergraduate want to go to a research university for their undergraduate studies if they can't participate in what arguably is the greatest strength of a research university, the research? So I was an undergraduate at the University of Oklahoma and thought I was going to have a career in industry. Decided that towards the end of my bachelor's degree that, I should probably get a master's degree. So I went and got a master's degree, but there was no intent of going on for a PhD. But during my master's degree, that's when I became excited about doing research. Did not participate in undergraduate research, although I was a laboratory assistant to a professor running the wind tunnel course at the University of Oklahoma.
Oh, that's very cool.
So. Well, I'm not sure what part of that question to take first, but certainly if I take the bigger question first, I think the only hope for this country in the 21st century to maintain its leadership role is to continue to be at the forefront of science and technology. And that really requires the federal government continuing to make significant investments. So certainly I think research in universities is the foundation for the future of this country. As far as undergraduate research, I think we do not do enough to provide opportunities to bring out the creativity in our undergraduate students. We have excellent undergraduate students. They're not interested in simply sitting in classes and looking at a talking head. And the more we can do to, in whatever way possible, to provide outlets for their creativity, I think the better off we will be in terms of educating the kind of undergraduate student we really want. We don't want undergraduate students who are simply smart and who know a lot of things. We want undergraduate students who are going to go on and be leaders. And leadership requires creativity. So we really need to nurture the creativity of all our students, but it starts at the undergraduate level. Well, I'm the one that started that program. It started as a program simply within our NSF center, but it was so successful that we then expanded it to the entire, and the word is petite, not petit. Well, I think the petite undergraduate scholars program is unique. I don't want to say it's the only one on campus, but this is a program which really requires a one-year commitment of the student. And the program is designed for the student to have their own independent research project. They're not just another pair of helping hands in the laboratory. They have their own independent project. They're mentored by a graduate student or a postdoc, and in the best of all worlds, and it does happen, not all the time, obviously, but in the best of all worlds, they're able in a year to do something that actually leads to a publication in a regular professional journal. Well, I would agree with Gary. I mean, I view spending a semester doing research with a professor and his group as exposure. But to really do a serious project requires at least a year, and some of our petite undergraduate scholars have actually continued into a second year. Because once you have a year and a half, then you really can go in depth. And I would like to see more emphasis placed on the longer type thing, because basically when you do a one semester thing, you spend it learning techniques. That's what I call a semester of investment, but the return on investment is only going to occur after that. So it really takes a longer period. The Petite Scholars Program is organized, the student starts in January. Spring semester they get academic credit. Summer they get a stipend. And in the fall they get a partial stipend. I mean, they get a stipend, but it's not as big as the summer because by fall they're back taking courses. But it's really designed for a one-year commitment. And like I say, many students go into a second year. I don't care what you want to mention, anything can be improved. Exactly. And I don't know if there's been a hard look at program over the past 5 years. Because I think in assessing those, for example, the last 5 years, can come out of that with ideas about what might be done differently in the future. And that's where I think some kind of a joint faculty student committee that takes a look at what has happened, what have been the successes, where have there been some things that maybe could have been done better. Is there a different way to distribute the money than what's currently done? And with a new person coming in to, in effect, implement the program, since Karen's leaving, this would be a good time to do it. I'm fortunate in that people all over the world want me to come talk, so I travel a lot. We have a new joint center between Georgia Tech, MIT, and University of Illinois to create biological machines made out of living cells, machines that don't even exist in nature. We have a new training grant from NSF, what's called an IGRT, on stem cell biomanufacturing. So, and I'm part of a couple of NIH grants. So I got plenty to do, Michael.